I've played guitar for 15 years, and today I want to tell you 7 lessons I learned so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Have you ever watched someone playing and thought, they're 100 times better than me? I'm never going to be as good as them. Let me tell you a little story. So, after I played guitar for a few years, I was on holiday and I was in this, it's like a rock cafe kind of style bar. And I was watching this guy performing, and he could sing higher than me, he could play guitar better than me. He was on stage, and I thought, I'm never going to do that. I thought, he's way better than me. I'm never going to be able to do what he does. I'm never going to be able to perform, make a living, making music. And I remember sitting there and comparing myself, and actually fast forward a few years, now I am making a living doing music. And I realized that I don't need to sing as high as him. I realized that I don't need to play guitar in the same way he did. It's so easy to look at someone and think, they're so much better than me. They can like solo better than me, or they can play chords better than me, or whatever they're doing better than you. But the thing is, and here's the lesson I learned, it's so easy to see your own flaws, but so difficult to see your own strengths. And it's the opposite for others. If someone can do something you can't, you see that and think you're not as good as them, but you don't realize the things that you can do that they can't as well. So realization and lesson number 1 is, don't compare yourself to others, just focus on improving yourself. As cliche as that sounds, super, super important. Lesson number 2 I learned, I learned this the hard way. So pretty much, I just bought a new guitar secondhand, an acoustic like this, like an electroacoustic, and I had a gig that night. And I thought, I'm going to take my new guitar and show it off and play at the new gig. And I was there with a band. I was the guitarist and singer. And we were playing and we were rocking the place, everyone dancing. And about 45 minutes into this hour-and-a-half gig, so about halfway through, my guitar just cut off. And I was like, what's going on? And started strumming it, doing everything I could, wiggling the cables. Nothing was working. And it turns out the battery had died. And it was too late. It was like midnight. It was too late to get any batteries. No one had any spares. And we had to literally stop the gig. It was so embarrassing and painful. And ever since then, I always brought spare batteries. So tip number 2 is be prepared. Always have spares of everything. You don't know what's going to happen. Have spare batteries, especially if you buy a new guitar, spare strings, spare cables, everything. Be prepared. So number 3 I learned from, well, literally, it was actually a couple days after that story of that guy on stage who I thought was way better than me. Kind of links into that one. I was literally jogging past this bar. I was on holiday and I was running past this bar. And I heard music coming from the bar. So I stopped, popped my head in, looked around the corner, and the guy that was playing just stopped playing and started roasting me. And this bar was super nice. It was more of like a venue. Everyone just like looking at me and laughing. The guy's just like being a bit of a comedian and making jokes out of me. And I was so embarrassed and I didn't know what to do. Nobody knew me, so I shouted out, I'll show you how to sing if you like. And the reason I did that was because, like I said, nobody knew me, but also because he just played the intro to a song by Johnny Cash called Folsom Prison Blues. Like, in fact, I'll play it for you. The intro goes like... So he just played that intro, and that was like my signature song that I used to always sing and play on the street busking, because that's how I started. I hadn't really done I think like a couple gigs then. And so that was my signature song. I was like, this is like almost like a sign, you know. So I shouted out, I'll show you how to sing if you like. Everyone was like, oh, you know, making a deal out of it. And he was like, come on then. And I got up, I sang that song, sang another song, and ended up playing the whole night with him, this stranger that I didn't know. And the lesson I learned from that, because that led to gigs and me actually starting and making like a living from music, that one moment. So the lesson I learned is like, be prepared. So if your dream is to, gig and play music, like which these lessons have been about so far, pretty much, that's obviously, you've got to be prepared for your moment. Like when you go on stage, a moment like that, it could just happen out of anywhere. But even if it's just, you want to play sort of like campfire music, you just want to get good enough, or you want to like, impress your friends, there will be a moment, a party, someone bring a guitar, and there's your moment to do your thing. So you want to get good as quick as you can so you can take advantage of these opportunities. There's a saying like, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And that's so true. So, get ready, get good, and be prepared. And if you want to supercharge your learning and learn even quicker, check out the 21-day Finger Gym Challenge, which is 21 routines aimed for beginner guitarists to get you step by step and get you quicker, more controlled fingers so you can start playing guitar even better. Check that out in the description box below. Number 4 is a lesson I learned from playing, busking and gigging and just playing, with my friends. And that is, if you make a mistake, don't react to it. I mean, unless it's extremely obvious and bad, even then, just power through. You know what I mean? Like, it's even better just to power through then. So if you make a mistake, just brush it off. Don't stop. Don't worry. Just carry on, because most people won't even notice, honestly. And the people that do will forget about it like 10 seconds later. Like, unless you're playing at the Royal Albert Hall, no one's going to mind if you make a little mistake. So just brush off mistakes. Try not to react. Don't sort of like cringe at them. Just power through and everything's going to be fine. Number 5, a lesson I learned is oftentimes it takes weeks, months, even years for practice and effort to pay off. Now, I've just started this YouTube channel, and although like it's not the same thing as learning guitar, it's still, learning a lot of things and building things. I've had this channel for like 6 months. And for the first 3 months or so, I wasn't getting much traction, but had to just keep going, just keep putting it out. Then after like 3 months, a few videos did well with the algorithm and it bumped up my whole channel. Like, all the results came in one moment, essentially. So you just got to stick with it. And that's how it works with guitar. Like, you might put hours in every day for a couple of weeks and feel like you're not getting anywhere. But then in that 3rd week, everything just clicks. Like, your brain just starts working, like it's weird how it works. But honestly, it's just little improvements over time create really big progress, and suddenly it clicks. Sometimes it takes taking a little break for a couple of days. Sometimes it will just come after a couple of months of practice, but things will click. Just stick with it. So results take time, sometimes weeks, months, or even years. So imagine you're, at a party or something. Someone has a guitar, and there's person A and person B. And person A is like, I can play guitar, and, they sit down, they play a few songs, and they're pretty good. Maybe they play one of their own songs, or maybe they just like, jam along to something, and you think, oh, they're good. Now imagine person B is like, let's have a go. I'll try the guitar as well. They pick it up and they say, hey, I wrote this song, about my girlfriend because we did this trip, and it was a, proper adventure, and I wrote this song about it, and this is what it means, and blah, blah, blah. And they play the song, and you listen to the words, you listen to the notes. Everything, sounds like a love song, and it makes sense. And he's like, here's another song I learned, and this song is about this and that. And you listen to it and you're like, wow, that's really meaningful. And he makes a few jokes, talks to you, asks what songs you like. You tell him like your favorite artist, say, I don't know, you like John Mayer. And he's like, I know a John Mayer song, plays it for you. That's so much more engaging, when you talk to the audience. The thing I learned is when you're playing, try to talk a little bit, tell some stories, make some jokes if that's like the sort of thing you would do anyway. Or if not, just engage. Even if it's just saying, guys, like, I'm really nervous. I don't often do this. I've not actually played guitar in front of anyone. Or maybe like, this is one of the first few times I've actually played or showed someone my playing, I'm practicing guitar. It makes it so much better, Like, if someone tells you how they feel, it's endearing. And if you tell a story, it's meaningful. And if you make a joke, it makes the whole thing more alive. So the thing I learned after years is just bite the bullet and speak to the audience, as scary as that can be. And then on to number 7. So guitar, music theory, all the techniques you can learn, the chords, the scales, everything is so overwhelming. When you're first starting, like, you don't know what half the words even mean when people are talking about inversions or chord progressions. You're like, how am I ever going to learn any of this stuff? But the truth is, you don't need to learn it all at first. Just master the fundamentals. So focus on basic chords, the most important scales, and finger coordination and technique. And that finger coordination technique part is what my channel is all about. So if you want more videos like that, check out the rest of my videos, and also the 21-day challenge that I mentioned earlier, which is 21 progressive routines aimed at beginner guitarists, taking you step by step from, feeling clumsy on the fretboard to feeling confident and going through all the exercises and techniques you need to get faster, stronger, more coordinated fingers. Those are 7 tips I've learned from 15 years and thousands of gigs playing guitar. I really hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video and managed to avoid mistakes I made and also progress quicker in your guitar playing. Thanks a lot. My name's Harry, this is Finger Jim, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.